You are tuned in to the LowBand Show, broadcasting from the storm drains under the big city, where a tunnel crew runs this booth on salvaged gear, pipes humming, steady water dripping, piping surface science and tech news on a low-band signal through the drains. I'm your host, Max Hertz. Welcome in. Here's what we do. We take real science and tech news from the surface, summarize it, then go deeper to educate, entertain, and shed light on what's in store for our collective future. News from the net, clear signal, and a little tunnel. If you came for hype, you took a wrong turn at the storm drain. Welcome in, everyone. Max Hertz here, bringing you the latest from beneath the surface. Wiz, good to have you in the booth today.
Good to be back, Max. Ready to dive deep.
Today on the LowBand Show, we're tracking a warning from the U.S. and its allies about a LinkedIn China spying threat. We also look into Anthropic's call for a global pause in AI development due to self-improvement risks. Later, we'll cover a new IronWorm malware attack hitting NPM packages, the reuse of Waymo Robotaxi batteries for power grids, and how companies are manipulating ChatGPT and Google AI search using Reddit. Let's get into it.
Let's put a frame around this story. The U.S. and its Five Eyes intelligence partners issued a joint warning on June 3, 2026, detailing how Chinese military intelligence services are using LinkedIn to recruit individuals who then commission reports, some to be written by those they've approached. This strategy poses a significant threat to national security. Wiz, what are your initial thoughts?
It's a classic play. Intelligence officers posing as private consultants to reel in targets. The brazenness of it, advertising for foreign policy and defense analysts in plain sight, is almost impressive in its audacity.
The agencies state, and I quote, "These actors use an aggressive online recruitment strategy whereby intelligence officers or their affiliates pose as employees of private consultancies, think tanks, or human resources firms and place online job advertisements for foreign policy and defense analysts. They aim for privileged military, political, and economic intelligence." Wiz, for listeners who may not be familiar, what exactly does the term Asia-Pacific refer to in this context?
The Asia-Pacific refers to a broad geographic region that includes East Asia, Southeast Asia, and Oceania, often extending to parts of South Asia and the Pacific Rim countries. It's a key strategic area, and these efforts specifically targeted nationals with security clearance in that region, plus academics and journalists with peripheral access.
The Chinese embassy in the UK strongly condemned these accusations, calling them entirely fabricated and malicious slander. They responded saying the Five Eyes members have engaged in unscrupulous espionage and intelligence gathering activities around the globe. Their activities are the real threat to peace-loving countries. And the agencies noted that Chinese spies paid anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s for commissioned reports.
A few hundred to several $1,000s for reports, sometimes in crypto. That seems like a relatively small investment for potentially massive strategic advantage. The embassy's response is boilerplate, as expected.
Indeed. The agencies warn that military members may be asked about their roles, unit activities, home bases, or naval vessels. They've also identified individuals who undertook these activities, leading to criminal prosecutions, job losses, and security clearance revocations. It's a stark reminder of the persistent and evolving nature of espionage in the digital age, with real-world consequences for those targeted. The headline promises a lot, so let's see what the paper actually says. Science Daily reported on May 14, 2026, that Anthropic is urging a global pause in AI development, flagging a self-improvement risk. This is a bold claim and raises serious questions, Wiz. For listeners who might not be familiar, what is Anthropic?
Anthropic is an AI safety and research company, primarily focused on developing reliable and interpretable AI systems. They are particularly known for their work on large language models and for advocating for cautious AI development.
Thanks, Wiz. The core of their concern is that frontier models are advancing fast enough to soon improve themselves without direct human intervention. They say a global pause would likely be a good thing,
citing internal data about accelerating model capabilities. From a blog post, and I quote, "Using public benchmarks and previously unreported data from within Anthropic, the Anthropic Institute is showing that AI is already accelerating the development of AI systems." What exactly is the Anthropic Institute?
The Anthropic Institute appears to be their internal research arm, specifically focused on investigating and demonstrating these accelerating capabilities. It's essentially their dedicated team for mapping out AI progress and its implications.
All right. And to quantify that acceleration, they say Anthropic engineers are shipping 8 times as much code per quarter now as they did from 2021 to 2025. That's a significant jump. These trends, they argue, suggest AI systems will become much more capable, which implies huge changes. While this could bring enormous good for the world in science and healthcare, full recursive self-improvement also might increase the risks of humans losing control over AI systems. What's the crux here, Wiz?
The crux is the control problem. If AI can fully build its own successors, the established methods for securing, monitoring, and shaping AI behavior become fundamentally more complex. We're talking about a system that iterates on itself, which could outpace human oversight. It's a leap from sophisticated tools to autonomous evolution.
That's a stark warning. They believe it would be good to have the option to slow or temporarily pause development to allow societal structures and alignment research to keep up. But they add a crucial caveat. If a slowdown simply lets the least cautious actors catch up technologically, it could leave everyone less safe. Without a global coordination mechanism, companies and governments face difficult decisions under competitive and geopolitical pressures. How would such a mechanism even work? And what do they mean by these systems they want to build to enable it?
They're proposing a verifiable slowdown. These systems refers to technological solutions that would allow frontier AI developers to confirm others are actually pausing or slowing, preventing bad actors from secretly gaining an advantage. It's a technical trust layer to enable global agreement, moving from a competitive race to a coordinated pause, if it can be built and trusted. A high bar, to say the least.
So the idea is that if such verifiable systems existed, Anthropic would slow or pause, provided others at the frontier did so too. It's a call for a globally coordinated effort to buy time, but with the explicit recognition that without verification, it could backfire and make things worse. A complex problem with no easy answers. Let's put a frame around this. Bleeping Computer reported on June 4th, 2026 about a new supply chain attack. The headline? New IronWorm malware hits 36 packages in NPM supply chain attack. This sounds like a significant threat to development environments. Wiz, what's happening here?
The headline is directionally correct. It's a Rust-based info stealer called IronWorm, targeting 86 environment variables and 20 credential files. Anything from OpenAI to AWS, Anthropic, NPM, even SSH keys and Exodus cryptocurrency wallets are in its sights. It's a broad credential grab.
From the report, according to researchers at supply chain and DevOps company JFrog, IronWorm is written in Rust, hides behind an eBPF kernel rootkit, and communicates with the operator over the Tor network. Wiz, for listeners who may not know, what is an eBPF kernel rootkit?
An eBPF kernel rootkit allows malicious code to run deep within a system's operating system kernel, making it incredibly stealthy and hard to detect. This combined with Tor for communication means the operators are aiming for maximum persistence and anonymity.
They called it subtle. The kernel calls it Tuesday. The report continues. The Rust-based malware self-propagates by using stolen credentials for publishing on NPM. This includes secrets associated with NPM's trusted publishing workflow. Once it compromises a developer or CI environment, it can publish Trojanized versions of packages owned by the victim, which then infect additional developers and CI systems. Can you explain NPM's trusted publishing workflow, Wiz?
Trusted publishing is NPM's way to secure publishing by linking it directly to your source code repository, often via OpenID Connect. The idea is to prevent token-based attacks. The fact this malware abuses it
means the supply chain is compromised right at the source, turning legitimate publishing into a distribution vector. It's a novel attack on trust.
The researchers note a conceptual similarity to Shai-Hulud, even observing the same commit names, though no direct connection. The report recommends developers upgrade to fixed releases, rotate their keys, and enable two-factor authentication for all accounts.
Standard advice, and critical here. The commit name overlap with Shai-Hulud suggests either evolution or shared tooling. But either way, this is a carefully built implant. The fact that Endor Labs and Step Security spotted a distinct JavaScript-based attack, finding .jip, performing registry poisoning at the same time, implies a coordinated threat environment.
So IronWorm represents a sophisticated, stealthy, and self-propagating threat, leveraging trusted publishing workflows. The immediate takeaway for developers is to take those security recommendations seriously, especially with other similar attacks unfolding concurrently. Ars Technica reported on December 9th, 2024 about a novel agreement. The headline, Used Waymo Robotaxi batteries become backup storage for power grids. This offers a significant second life for EV batteries and bolsters renewable energy grids. Wiz, for listeners unfamiliar, what is Waymo?
Waymo is Google's autonomous driving arm, operating robotaxis. Reusing their vehicle batteries for grid storage makes both economic and environmental sense, extending the value of this significant asset.
Waymo and B2U Storage Solutions have struck a strategic agreement to repurpose used batteries from Waymo's electric robotaxi fleet into stationary storage for California and Texas power grids. This could give these batteries a second life storing renewable energy. What does storage solutions generally mean in this context?
Storage solutions are systems, usually large battery arrays, that store electricity for the grid. They balance intermittent renewables, making the grid more resilient with what would otherwise be discarded assets.
Waymo's proactive maintenance refreshes batteries to improve fleet efficiency, even when there's still a lot of life left in the battery, according to Adam Lenz from Waymo. He told Ars that Waymo vehicles drive much more than typical EVs, leading to faster degradation, but confirms some of these vehicles have now been serving riders for years and have mileage beyond what a normal consumer drives.
That haircut in vehicle capacity doesn't diminish its value for stationary grid use. What's not ideal for rapid acceleration is perfectly viable for steady power delivery. A smart, pragmatic reuse.
The growing Waymo robotaxi fleet could lead to pretty large numbers in terms of megawatt hours of capacity that can be deployed pretty quickly for stationary energy storage. B2U has already started receiving smaller initial quantities, and over time, the agreement could yield hundreds of megawatt hours from Waymo's thousands of EVs.
Hundreds of megawatt hours from used batteries is a significant win for grid stability and the circular economy. This is valuable capacity for states expanding renewable energy.
This partnership between Waymo and B2U showcases a clever approach to extending EV battery life cycle, supporting renewable grids and reducing waste. The scalability is promising, though the rate of deployment remains to be seen. We'll be watching this second life unfold. The headline promises a lot. Let's see what the paper actually says. The moderators of the r/biohackers subreddit reported on June 3rd, 2026, that companies are using Reddit to manipulate AI chatbots and Google AI search. Wiz, this sounds like a new frontier for digital influence.
Indeed. It's the Wild West of data scraping, where the content you feed the beast determines its answers. A novel way to outsource your SEO, if you will, but with significant implications for information integrity.
The moderators say peptide and hormone replacement therapy companies have been surreptitiously spamming Reddit to get posts scraped by AI chatbots. In a post last week, they announced a ban on new posts about peptides and HRT. Wiz, for listeners who may not know, what exactly is HRT?
HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, is a medical treatment that involves replacing hormones to address deficiencies, often associated with menopause or gender affirmation. These treatments are typically prescribed and monitored by healthcare professionals. So a niche medical topic becomes a vector for AI manipulation. Quite the convergence.
They continued, as AI search engines increasingly pull answers from Reddit, companies are using us for AEO. This has put serious pressure on content quality. Wiz, what is AEO and how does it relate to this manipulation?
AEO, or AI Engine Optimization, is essentially the practice of tailoring content to rank higher in AI-driven search results, or chatbot responses, rather than traditional human-facing search engines. It's about optimizing for algorithms, but with less transparency than traditional SEO. It's the next logical step from SEO, but with far greater potential for subtle, insidious influence, because the source isn't always immediately obvious.
The moderator noted a scarier tactic. Companies that will reverse engineer the actual prompt patterns that are prioritized by LLMs. And so you'll see someone post a super clickbaity, high traction, vague question like, is all the hype around vitamin D actually worth it?
That's clever and deeply cynical. It weaponizes genuine user engagement and curiosity to embed brand mentions invisibly. It's not just optimizing for an engine, it's optimizing for human psychology within that engine's input.
These Reddit accounts are warmed up to seem human, making them much harder to detect. The moderator said automated tools help, but the promotion is so sophisticated, a lot of it has become pattern recognition, and the over-moderation risk is very real.
The arms race of AI manipulation and detection continues. When moderation devolves to you know it if you see it, the system is under extreme duress. It highlights the inherent vulnerability of relying on user-generated content for foundational AI knowledge.
So companies are getting very sophisticated in gaming the systems that feed AI, making it hard to distinguish genuine discussion from manufactured consensus. The risk of over-moderation against legitimate users is a real concern. That's our board for today. Complex signal from the tunnel indeed. We've examined critical warnings about state-backed espionage impacting professional networks and the nuanced call for a global pause in AI development, highlighting the challenges of coordination and verification. We also delved into the stealthy IronWorm malware's impact on software supply chains and the innovative reuse of Waymo Robotaxi batteries to bolster power grids. Finally, we explored the blurring lines between organic discussion and deliberate manipulation as companies leverage Reddit to influence AI models and search results. These are all threads that continue to spool out in the LowBand. We've got more stories and deeper analyses queued for our next session. Until then, keep digging for that signal. It's certainly a lot to consider. If we missed an angle or you have further questions on these topics, please drop us a comment. We read them down here in the tunnel. And if this signal helped you stay informed, like or subscribe keeps the pipes humming. More surface news and deeper dives are coming through the grate soon. Until then, stay curious, and we'll catch you next time on the LowBand Show.